Ethan had been searching for a cheap place to rent when he stumbled upon the old farmhouse on the outskirts of town. It was bigger than anything he could have afforded, and when the landlord gave him the keys, he thought he'd found a hidden gem. But the house had rules. The landlord, a frail old man with trembling hands, had only one warning. Do not sleep in the room with no windows. Ethan laughed it off. Every old house had its stories, its quirks, its superstitions. He assumed the landlord was just trying to make the house sound mysterious. Still, the warning stuck in his head as he wandered through the creaking halls. The room wasn't hard to find. The entire farmhouse had wide windows, tall curtains, and sunlight spilling through except for one door at the very end of the upstairs hallway. Behind it was a room sealed in shadow. No windows. No cracks. Just four walls painted a dull gray, the air thick and unmoving, as if it had been trapped for years. For the first night, Ethan avoided it. He stayed in one of the brighter rooms, convincing himself that he'd respect the old man's superstition. But curiosity never sleeps. By the second night, it gnawed at him. He kept thinking about that room. Why no windows? Why so empty? Why the warning? At 11:57 p.m., unable to resist any longer, he dragged his mattress inside. The air felt colder, heavier, almost damp. The silence was suffocating, broken only by the sound of his own heartbeat. He lay down, staring into the blackness, his phone flashlight flickering on the floor beside him. At 3 a.m., he woke to a sound. Not loud, but sharp. A fingernail, dragging slowly across the ceiling. His chest tightened. He told himself it was rats. Old houses always had rats. But then it happened again, this time directly above him. Scratch, scratch, scratch. The air shifted. The walls weren't still anymore. They swelled and sank, like something was pressing against them from the other side, trying to get out. Ethan's phone lit up on its own. The screen wasn't showing the time or notifications, just static, like an old television caught on a dead channel. Shaking, Ethan picked it up and pointed the weak light toward the wall. His breath caught in his throat. Faces. Dozens of pale, distorted faces pressed into the surface. Their mouths opened and closed soundlessly, like they were screaming but no sound came out. Their eyes rolled wildly, as if they could see him. Ethan stumbled backward, tripping over his mattress. He ran to the door, yanking at the handle. But it didn't open. The door was gone. In its place was another wall of faces, their mouths stretching wider, their eyes bulging with silent desperation. The scratching grew louder, now from every wall, the ceiling, even the floor beneath his feet. The entire room was alive, surrounding him. He screamed and pounded at the walls, his voice shaking. "Let me out!" A single whisper answered him, cutting through the noise, clear as glass. "Now you're one of us." The faces leaned closer, pressing through the walls, their features bulging, stretching, reaching toward him. His flashlight flickered, sputtered, then died. Darkness swallowed the room. And Ethan's screams were never heard again. 2. The town was quiet when Clara left work that night. Midnight had already passed, and the streets lay empty under the orange glow of flickering street lamps. The last bus waited at the stop, engine humming softly, the doors open like a mouth inviting her in. She climbed the steps, paid her fare, and looked around. The bus was nearly empty, just a few scattered passengers sitting silently, their faces hidden in the dim light. The driver, an older man with a cap pulled low over his eyes, didn't look at her when she walked past. Clara slid into a seat near the back. The bus groaned as it pulled away, rolling down the deserted streets. She pulled out her phone, but there was no signal. No Wi-Fi. Just black. It wasn't unusual at first. The town always had bad service. But something about the silence inside the bus unsettled her. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. They just sat still, their heads tilted slightly toward the aisle, as if listening. The bus turned down a street she didn't recognize. Clara frowned. She knew this route. She had taken it dozens of times. But the buildings here looked wrong, twisted, leaning too far, their windows black and hollow like eyes staring out. Her chest tightened. She stood, moving toward the front. "Excuse me, driver? This isn't the right way." The driver didn't respond. His hands gripped the wheel tightly, knuckles pale. The bus picked up speed, racing deeper into the unfamiliar streets. Clara turned back toward the passengers and froze. Every single one of them was now staring at her. Their heads had turned in perfect unison, eyes wide, mouths slightly open, breathing in slow, rattling gasps. She stumbled backward, gripping the pole to steady herself. "Stop the bus," she shouted. "Please." The driver didn't move. The bus lights flickered, and in that moment of darkness, the passengers weren't passengers anymore. Their faces stretched unnaturally long, their skin pale and cracked like old porcelain. Their eyes were hollow sockets, black and endless. When the lights flickered back on, they were normal again. Sitting quietly. Staring. Waiting. Clara's heart pounded. She ran to the doors, slamming the button to open them. Nothing. She kicked at the glass, screamed, pounded her fists, but the bus didn't slow. The overhead speaker crackled to life. A voice, not the driver's, not human at all, whispered through the static. "Next stop, home." The bus screeched around a corner, throwing her to the floor. She crawled toward the back, desperate, but the passengers moved now. Slowly, deliberately, they rose from their seats and began to walk toward her. Their footsteps were soft, inhuman, out of rhythm with the rocking bus. Their mouths opened wider, stretching unnaturally, until the sound of low, guttural laughter filled the air. The driver finally turned his head, just enough for Clara to see his face in the mirror. It wasn't human. His skin hung loose, like a mask too big for the skull beneath, his eyes glowing faintly red. Clara screamed as the bus plunged into a tunnel she had never seen before. The world outside the windows was gone, only black, endless void stretching on forever. The lights inside the bus snapped off. Total darkness. And in the pitch black, dozens of voices whispered in perfect unison. "You've already arrived."